Hello everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So expectations in movies, it can be a really double-edged sword, because it can either be that you're having these enormous expectations on a movie which it cannot possibly, come up to, and then you go away feeling a little bit, that movie wasn't at all as good as I thought it was going to be. Or you have, very low expectations on a movie, such as I had on Malignant, for instance, which I reviewed very recently. And you're walking away from it thinking, my God, that was such a fucking awesome movie. But the worst thing you can have is probably to have the wrong expectations on a movie. When Winter's Bone came out 12 years ago, the critics were just gushing over it. They were absolutely ecstatic about it. And I read small little tidbits here and there about this movie, and it was, this big mystery, and it was a big, take on American poverty and where the American dream had completely failed. And this was this tale about this tough as and hard as nails girl who, took on, the grown-up worlds and showed them what she can do. And it was sort of a revenge tale, and I was like, this sounds intriguing, actually. I skipped the movie when it came out in theaters. I saw it years later when the hype had died down for it, and I saw it and I was very, very bored. Now at this point, when I saw it, Jennifer Lawrence had already established herself as a big movie star, but this was kind of her breakthrough performance. And watching this movie, the only really positive thing I can say about it is that she's good in this one, but not as good as that she will be in later movies, and that it was at least a good thing that this movie came out so we could get a Jennifer Lawrence in Hollywood being one of her generation's greatest actresses. But this movie has a barrage of problems, not only due to the fact that I thought that this movie was going to be something completely different than what it ended up being. Let's talk for a second about the movie Winter's Bone. We are in rural Missouri, and Ray, played by Jennifer Lawrence, is a girl that is taking care of her family. Essentially, her mother is, mentally challenged, and her, smaller siblings, look up to her as their actual mom, and she's trying to keep everything together. She also has a kind of criminal dad who has, disappeared. The thing is that he had been out on bail. He was awaiting his court date for, he was accused of meth cooking or, whatever you're getting accused of up there. It's mostly meth related, I would assume. Anyway, the thing is that if he doesn't show up in 7 days, they're gonna lose the house because he used the house as collateral for the bail, basically. So if he doesn't show up, they lose the house. So Ray takes it upon herself to try to find Dad and bring him back to court. And she goes around and talks to people, relatives to her and, people she knows and other local yokels, but most of them are not very interested to talk to her. This is, a part of America where you don't really, collaborate with the authorities, where you don't, talk about what's going on in, this poverty-stricken part of the country and stuff like that. So is she going to find him? And at this point, I just want to say, I don't care. Watching this movie gave me a feeling of John Grisham. And I'm not saying that because he's very good at making books about lawyers and stuff like that. It was that many John Grisham books and many John Grisham movies have a problem. It is, well, this is the solution to all our problems, I think, after read about a fourth, a fifth of the book, and the dilemma has been presented to us, and then they're walking around in circles thinking about basically every other possible solution and the thing that stares them right in the face, and then they do exactly what I predicted that they would do. The problem with this movie, especially when I saw it, was the fact that I thought it was going to be some kind of a revenge tale, some kind of a mystery to the whole thing. Where has Dad all gone? But this is not really a mystery, and the idea that Jennifer Lawrence is supposed to play this, strong, tough girl was kind of, where is she? This movie consists mostly of Jennifer Lawrence walking around to different people, getting yelled at, and in some cases also gets physically abused and beaten like she was a red-headed stepchild or something like that. And this went on, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. We also had, you know, these sections when she goes off to kind of joins the army in order to try to, with army money, pay for, you know, the house and stuff like that. And it meant nothing. And the movie is boring, the movie is slow moving, and the movie didn't feel authentic. That was one of the biggest problems this movie had, except for the boring stuff. Because when I saw the movie Prisoners, I thought that I was in rural Pennsylvania. When I saw the movie Deliverance, I really thought that I was in rural Georgia. When I saw Southern Comfort, I really felt that I was in rural Louisiana. I never got that from this movie. This felt like a bunch of actors had kind of dressed up, but not quite dressed up as these Ozark people, and I never got that authenticity. That was a big problem for me. But even a bigger problem was how boring this movie was, and the fact that I didn't care. As I said, Jennifer Lawrence is good in this movie, but not as good as she would be in, you know, later movies. And also, Jennifer Lawrence plays the exactly same character in almost every movie that she has ever been part of. Think about it. Every single movie she plays a woman that is under some kind of physical and mental stress, and she suffers a lot. She's very good at it, at the same way as, you know, Sean Connery is excellent at playing, you know, all of these mentors and who knows everything and stuff like that. And Ben Stiller always played Ben Stiller, and unfortunately Adam Sandler always playing Adam Sandler, a huge crybaby who somehow gets annoyingly hot women to play his wives. But the thing is that she has played this character a lot better in other movies. And I was never really on board with the whole thing, but because I didn't care. And this was not a revenge tale at all, and it was not a mystery either, because I had already figured it out after about 10 minutes, and I was just waiting around to see, well, it can't be that, because that would be stupid. And that would be so simple. And maybe, just maybe, they had to do that because the book that this movie was based on had exactly the same outcome. To that I say, Starship Troopers only shares the title with the book. The rest of it is basically an entirely different story. They have some small similarities here and there, but I would say that you have the freedom to adapt a book story-wise the way you want it to be. You can do a better finish if that was indeed the case with the book. You can do a more interesting story surrounding it if you want to. In the end, I think Winter's Bone is just a very, very overrated indie drama with a predictable finish and a very flat ending to the whole thing. And sure, this is not the type of movie I normally, you know, generate towards, but come on, can you at least make it interesting? Ugh. Should you see Winter's Bone? No, I don't think so. It is not a mystery. It's not a thriller. It's not a very good coming-of-age story. It's not a very good, you know, commentary on, you know, social issues in America. And it is not a great whodunit story, because there is no dunning here. It's just boring and, as I said, ending mega flat. Jennifer Lawrence is very good. The rest of these yahoos are, well, fine, I guess. I can only give Winter's Bone 24 points. It is a boring, tedious and self-obsessed drama that was ugly looking, that was uninteresting, went on for far too long despite not being that long, and in the end meant nothing. So I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.